you with a box. Who's in the box? What's in the box?
Hello, everybody. All right, my name is Bob. I'm going to start off right away, just get rolling into it. This is Bob's Basement Toy Blog. We are on episode 25. We're rounding out the 5th week of doing this. Still cannot believe it. Let's see how many of these I can actually do. Good news, we rearranged a few things. As you can see, found my Castle Grayskull. Awesome. 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 Found my Castle Grayskull. Been a work in progress, slowly restoring it. The outside is great, but some of the stickers inside are kind of faded, folded. I still have the chair. I don't have the gun anymore, but I have the flag, but, you know, little things like that. So Castle Grayskull is going to be on display. Eventually we will open it. There is things inside, but we'll save that for a special day, maybe a day of lower expectations. There's something weird in there that I'm already seeing, and we'll save it. We'll save it. Also, why am I doing this? In case you're watching, I am unboxing my basement. I'm going through things. I'm sorting things. I'm getting figures that are alike together, figures that I want to get rid of, and finding figures that I forgot I totally had. So today, before this all started, I got this big, what I call the coffin, one of the big coffins out from back there in the corner, and as I'm moving things out, I found Castle Grayskull in a tub by itself with a bunch of sweatshirts. So I was like, oh, okay. Castle Grayskull comes out, sweatshirts going to the laundry, and sure enough, I now have an empty tub. I consolidated all the Power of the Force figures I had yesterday and all the Black Series figures that I found this week all into 2 separate tubs. So I'm like, they're done. Like, now granted, I'm going to go back, count, figure out who's worth it, who's not. I even packed up, you notice there's some figures missing now. I even packed up Jodo Cast. Figure went crazy on Instagram. Everybody wanted that figure. Put him in a hard shell, took out an Anakin Skywalker from episode 1. He doesn't need to go into a plastic case. Took him out and put Jodo Cast in there because he's definitely rare. And I have 2 of them. I got to find the other one again. He was in one of the early boxes, which to me, kind of amazing that I actually started going, did I go through that box already? And I had to think back. I did. So I'm going to give a shout out to my favorite watcher, Dave. He's watching at home again today. Hello, Dave. I don't know if we're going to do Star Trek, but I'll give you a hint. Battlestar Galactica today. Dave's a big Trekkie and a Planet of the Apes guy, so I don't know if you like Battlestar Galactica, but we're definitely going to do that. And hello to my friend Shelton. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. I don't know if you've caught any of these on the reruns, but I appreciate you tuning in. And I hope that you get up here and visit the Colonial Theater again, Shelton, next time we are allowed to socially gather. That would be nice. So, let's get to it. Now, right off the bat, you can probably see this one. This is, if you remember the cartoon series Thundarr the Barbarian, well, it was a cartoon in the 80s. It was like a wizards and barbarians and monsters, and everything took place on Earth, but it was after Earth was destroyed by a runaway comet. Very cool series. You can get all of them on DVD in a box set from Hanna-Barbera. But I got this figure, I want to say like 2000. Yep, 2003. They made all 3 of the main characters from Thundarr the Barbarian. So we have Thundarr, we have Princess Ariel, and we have Ookla the Mok. And I don't know why I never got the other 2. I really should have, but I definitely got Ookla. I found him at a Suncoast when I was in Los Angeles. Suncoast Video at the Santa Monica Pier. I was at that mall. And awesome figure. Always wanted it as a kid. I was never surprised that they never made toys, but it only lasted like 1 season. But a very, very cool figure to have. So definitely would not get rid of that one because it's so odd. And odder figures really are starting to get, people are clamoring for odder things. Now, if you're watching this on the repost, I called this episode 25, Opee Ahoy. Now, what does that mean? It has nothing to do with Ron Howard's character on, I don't remember the name of the show now. Wow, that's terrible. Don't even remember the name of that show. Andy Griffith Show. Opee is actually a fish in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. They made this as a toy. I am holding this. This is not fake. So apparently, for some reason, the Hasbro guys get a look at a lot of stuff. They see pictures, they see images. They may not even see the whole movie. But for some reason, they went and made this fish crab monster thing with a swimming Qui-Gon Jinn. So he actually has like a little thing in his mouth and the whole... This was a figure. This is a toy. Never been opened. I think I got this... yeah, he definitely has a green discounted Walmart sticker. If it's not in the movie, most people don't want it until years later and going, oh my god, it's one of the oddest, dumbest things I've ever seen. I have to have one. So it does have snapping jaws, definitely different. But yeah, we're going to call this episode Opee Ahoy because there he is. Purchased at Walmart, still in the box. So Dave is a fan of Battlestar Galactica. All right, good. So this is a jumbo coloring book for Batman Brave and the Bold. Pretty big. All kinds of cool images and stuff in here. So that'll go into the, when my son is old enough, he's going to have a field day with stuff that we bought 10 years ago. So let's do the, we got a lot of bagged items here today. It's going to be a longer show. So I did tease the Battlestar Galactica figures. Now these were done by Mattel. And I had posted images of these early on Instagram today. And one of our Instagram followers had stated, Jason Abandon says that a certain kind of Molotow chrome pens will restore these. As you can see, the chrome itself, these were all silver at one point, is all faded. They're well worn. My parents never bought me a lot of the same figures, so these must have been on sale somewhere. There is a fourth one. We did him early, and we actually found one of his guns. So we actually have one that's complete. But there's 3 Cylons. These became like stormtroopers to me because we only had one stormtrooper. Here is, I think his name is an Ovion. It's like a giant man bee. He does not have his cloak anymore. But Adama still has his cloak. Very odd line of figures. I really wish I had the one of the Centurion leaders, but I have the gold Centurion Cylon somewhere. I don't know exactly where he is. Now we're gonna put these guys. I'm gonna put these guys in this container here so we can sort through these later, and definitely start grouping the Battlestar Galactica figures. Now I would not get rid of those. Those would not be in the purge pile. Definitely going to be an odd box. So here we have. These are Avon. Yep. These are Avon brushes that my brother and I had when we were kids. And basically, I mean, look at that box. Isn't that awesome? It's an awesome Superman box. Telephone, Clark Kent, and then I guess you could always clean up a brush. Yep. So there's the brush right there. That is probably my brother or my hair from when we were kids. But Avon brush. The things that my parents kept, that I kept. Dude, the boxes are cool. The brushes are a little worn, but we actually use them. So my grandmother was a really, really into Avon. You would not believe the stuff she had when we got rid of it. And I think they all thought it was going to be worth something. Keeping these in the boxes probably would have been worth something. And never being used. The boxes alone are just awesome. So, I got a weird metal tin over here. Nothing in it. That doesn't happen often. Ooh. So, here is, I believe this was the first one when they released these. This is the Darth Vader lightsaber that when they released these in the Power of the Force line, it makes all the noises. It takes it takes beating and stuff. Yeah, right after when we started getting these in college, there were just lightsaber fights all over my college apartment. So the bad thing is you can't really clip it to your belt, and then you have this problem here. So they did make it later that it locked off, and then this all telescoped out. Put that there. All right, here we go. We're getting into the bag stuff now. See if we can get through some of these lighter bags. So here is Shadows of the Empire. This is the swoop bike, and we talked a lot about Shadows of the Empire yesterday. This is an expanded universe story. about what happened between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. These were awesome bikes that they put out. We did have a loose one. I'm sure there's another one, but this one is still carded. He has never been out of the pack. So, I really hate opening these up, but how else am I going to know what the heck's in it? Especially when... Oh, okay. So, here is... He's been opened. So this is the re-release Land Speeder from the Power of the Force in 1995. And it has been opened. The tape has been cut, so it is in there. In decent shape. An essential toy if you're going to do anything with Star Wars or any like world building and in like making a diorama, having vehicles like this, you need this. If you have old ones that are broken, just repaint them and make them look different. We have a broken one somewhere that was my brother's from 1999. 1979. The back fin is broken off, but I'll sand it down and then just repaint it. It'll look awesome. And the nice thing about this is the 375 figures now, today, that they're making will fit into these vehicles. Shout out to my friend Matt Booker in England who's watching. Thanks, Matt. Yep, a swoop. Love those bikes. Love that part of the game and in the N64. All right, here we go. Now, I got my knife out here because I really did tie these off in knots thinking I'm never going to reopen these. Not until the day that I would be ready to start building the, what's it called? The dioramas. Alright, there we go. So, this looks like an episode 1. Yep, episode 1. Oh, we got some banging around here. Okay, so, this is an awesome diorama. However, time is catching up to it. So this is the Tatooine Showdown. Now this is when Qui-Gon and Darth Maul fight for the first time in episode 1. The awesome part about this is, I mean, Maul is in full cape twirl. Qui-Gon is just like, his cloak and everything is going. You have Anakin running to the side. Now the downside is, well the upside is, they're wired into the base. So that's in perfect shape. Like that, they're not going to go anywhere, unlike the weapons and the capes in this set where they started banging around. We showed that a couple of days ago. But the Comtech chip has fallen out. I could hear it when I packed it out. So I'd have to play a game of almost like moving the marble around trying to get it out. But all in all, really, really awesome Tatooine set. I mean, this thing is really cool. This was 1999, so this must have been in the first or second. I guess maybe it was the second wave. I mean, that is an awesome Darth Maul and an awesome Qui-Gon Jinn. They're really, really good likenesses as well as just the posability. It's an awesome figure. I didn't think I'd be that excited about an episode 1 figure. That's pretty cool. Forgot I had it. Honestly, forgot it even existed. So, this is a sequel of sorts. We do have a loose 3D Mos Eisley Cantina. So we do have the Stormtrooper and the other guy floating around here and the little droid floating around here somewhere. What did they call him? Unique. A unique Sandtrooper. Wow. Not even like Sandtrooper Sergeant, just unique. So we do have a full, another one of these somewhere. I think I got 2 of these. This guy's never been out, and I know I put together the diorama. So awesome figure. You get a unique droid. I think they re-released him as a separate figure as well. Those are cool. I like those. I would see more dioramas. Those 3 diorama sets are really cool. Forgot about how neat those were. I know there's a Sebulba one. May have just found it. Oh! Awesome. Okay. So, this guy got a little dinged up, which is great because I'm probably going to open it up anyway. But you can actually see the tabs, how to put them on display. That's awesome. I didn't even know you could see that. So this is Jabbas skiff guards. I got these when I was working in LA. I found them at a toy shop. Klaatu, Barada, and Nikto. obviously homage to The Day the Earth Stood Still. But these are 3 figures now. They've re-released these numerous times, sometimes in the vintage collection, sometimes in these multiple packs. I actually have the skiff, the little portable one. They just released that in the vintage collection. So I actually have that. So I need all 3 of these guys to go on the skiff, because these are the guys that are basically like putting Luke, Han, and Chewie into the Sarlacc. So look at that. I don't know. Can't really save that as in package-wise, but seems like it got a little crushed. Very nice, though. And then this was another oddball 3-pack, and this was another one. I mean, I found these in LA, and I shipped them home to myself because I didn't want them to get crushed, and here they are crushed. But that was 1990. That was, well, I started working in LA sometime in 2000. So this is actually, there's a little flight deck too. Shows you how to display it. Nope, but it is kind of banged up. But this is 10 nub, not 9 nub. Wedge Antilles and Arvel Sinyad? Krynyad. So we got an A-wing pilot, a B-wing pilot, and an X-wing pilot. And this was, I believe, the second time they released Wedge Antilles. The first time was terrible. He had the wrong helmet on. He had Luke's helmet. And then they redid it. So this is an awesome 3-pack set. And definitely, if you're going to do pilots, this was another one of their Power of the Force line where they were harking back to the original. Well, they were showing original scenes from the original trilogy, but then highlighting pilots in Episode 1 at the same time. Awesome 3-pack. Probably an oddball 3-pack that not many people are going to have. So here's that. Yes, here is that Watto set that I was talking about. Nice thing about this tub is that most of it's probably just all going to go back into the same tub. I have monster stacks over there that just can't even. It's the other lightsaber I could done in comparison. So this is the Mos Espa encounter. Now this is from Episode 1, and the cool thing about this set was, well, the Comtech chip has not rotten out of there yet, so it's still right there. Rubber bands haven't rotted off, but you actually get a fairly decent Watto that's not in his pilot gear. That's what's cool about this one. Now, you do get a slightly different Jar Jar and a slightly different Anakin. Their arms are a little bit different. But the Sebulba figure is the one that you want. He even comes with a little frog because they encountered him on the street. So, neat figure. But he'd be the reason to get this box set. Alright. So I think I'm up to 5, if not 6 dewbacks at this point. This one has never been opened. This is the Power of the Force dewback when they re-released them. The first time they re-released them. As in, like, there was just the Kenner one, and then they made this one, and they've re-released them several times over since. I got this at KB Toy Store. It was originally $17.99. I got it for $5.99, which is probably why I have more than one. Because I definitely want to have a patrol of these out and about. And you could put these, you could use these with your new Mandalorian figures because he does ride a dewback in The Mandalorian. So that's awesome. And it's a great monster too. It works really well. It looks realistic. So I did do a big, I did do a bunch of the Action Fleet figures. I do have this one and one other one. I don't know if we're going to get to it today, if it's even in this box. But this is the Action Fleet of the TIE Interceptor. And the only reason why I bought this was, and I can't really show it to you, but if you pull the helmet off of one of these, it's actually painted to look like George Lucas. So that's the reason why I actually got this one. I'm not a big fan of these little ships. I wasn't at the time, I should say. I am now, because I like how you can pose them and put them on display. But this was actually really, really cool. It was cool that it came with 2 pilots, because it didn't quite make sense that it would. This is a single-man craft. So, 2 pilots, a little bit different. I mean, talk about recycling. I definitely recycled a lot of these bags. Wow, these are all like these 3D sets. This is crazy. So this was the only way at the time that you could get the Emperor's throne. So if you actually wanted the Emperor to be sitting and not standing like he normally is, you had to get this 3-pack. Now, the downside to this set is their lightsabers for Vader and Luke are actually in both their hands, but they're tied together with rubber bands. They're held together. The Emperor is held down with a metal wire, so he won't fall out of his chair, but eventually Vader and Luke may drop their sabers. So considering this toy is from 1997, fairly decent shape. Box is actually pretty good. Alright, so just had it out. And as you've seen, if you've been following this over this last several weeks, I do come across empty boxes. So this was Walmart, $14.96. This was the Airspeeder. And the Airspeeder is actually out of its box, and we've had it on display right here. I've used this in some toy photography, and I really like it. It's based on Ralph McQuarrie's original artwork for the Snow Speeder. This is when Hasbro was running out of ideas. I wouldn't say that. Well, that's kind of rough to say that they're running out of ideas. It's more or less like they were really just flushing out the world, kind of buying time, because at this point, this was 1997. I think Star Wars may have been announced that there was a new movie, and it was a way off. They were definitely in production, but they were probably just filling the void until new toys started to arrive based on new characters. This knife terrifies me, by the way. Knives should terrify you. That way you don't cut yourself. Feels like an empty box. If it is, I'm going to be kind of mad at myself that I kept this empty box. It is not. All right. So back in 1999, everybody wanted new Star Wars figures, and the first figure they released that you could buy in stores was the Stap and the Battle Droid. And I have 3 or 4 of these. I showed them to you a couple days ago, or maybe the first or second episode. They're right over there. But this is the only one that I still have in the box. These were easy to get after all the new stuff came out because they were dirt cheap. But if you got enough proof of purchase points with figures, you could also mail away to get Mace Windu. So Mace Windu with a blue lightsaber, not a purple one. That was a sneak preview figure. This was a sneak preview figure. And it's cool because it actually has Doug Chang's artwork behind it. So it's 21 years old. Actually, the movie came out in 1999. This was copyrighted 1998. So this was neat that you could get it this way on display. I probably have another one. We'll get to it. But I definitely have 3 of them over there. It's nice to have one in the box still. Because the box itself is really, really cool. It's a little damaged. I have moved about 10 times, I feel like, since some of this stuff got packed. And some of this stuff went into storage without my knowledge. Someone packed up all my stuff and took it and put it in storage while I was at Comic-Con. Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. So, this is Jabba the Hutt's Dancers from the Special Edition of Return of the Jedi. The problem with this is they're all kind of leaning one way. You can't really make them out too well. And the glue on the plastic itself has popped out. So it's nice that you get a base to put the figures on. But if you really want to do all the dancers, you're going to have to do... I can stick my finger in there. It's, you know... sure, if you were at a toy show or you were... going to trade this into a toy dealer, it'd be great if they were unplayed with, but at this point they're probably the value of it is probably not that great because the box itself is starting to fall apart due to time. This is 98 as well. We're getting a lot of this is like the diorama box. I should have called it that. Okay, so this is the Trade Federation Droid Fighters. I got this at Ames. It was on clearance. It says $19.99. I don't think I would have bought it at that price. There's actually 3 of them in here. So there's actually a grip where you can fly 3 of the ships. It's actually quite... It's really quite neat, actually. So you do get 3 droid fighters, yeah, and then they turn into these robots that, like, walk. So definitely different. Yep. Never been opened. Still has the price tags on them. Looks like it's in great shape. Another Episode 1 toy. Oh, all right. Now, we'll save that for the end. That's cool. I didn't know that was in there. And this is a batting glove for a child. Look at that. Batting glove for a kid. Why would I have that? Oh no. Oh, okay. So, this is a trash bag. There's a trash bag here. Alright, remember I talked about that Wedge Antilles? Okay. Yeah. Gotta open it more. Now, they re-released Wedge Antilles Rogue Red 2 in a special set. So this was one of the very first carrying cases that they made after they made the C-3PO one, which you can barely see. I'm sorry I pointed to it. I don't even know if this is still attached. This is still sort of attached. So this was a very cool Han Solo Millennium Falcon carrying case, and then you got Wedge up here inside the cockpit. The problem is they just did a different face but painted the helmet exactly the same as Luke's. Wedge's helmet is gray. It has gray here and here where Luke had the two rebel symbols on his helmet. So it's a little bit different, and the figure was wrong. So thankfully, I mean, it looks great. It looks like Dennis Lawson, but the figure itself wasn't painted correctly. So kind of a thing with collectors where they're like, yeah, it's good, but the helmet doesn't quite work. And oh, it came right out. So let me open it up. Now they did do, besides the C-3PO case, they did do an R2-D2 case years later. So here we go. We get the idea of, you know, they're kind of, wow, there's no stickers. So if you can see that his helmet is wrong. I must have taken the stickers out. Probably used them for something else. That's weird. So you put the figures in here and label it. It's a big hunk of plastic. I mean, it looks good. It looks right. You can kind of see that, you know, yeah, it's a Millennium Falcon and you can store it. But all in all, it's more of a cautionary tale of what Hasbro did wrong at the time. You know, not everybody, I guess, was checking everything to make sure it was right. So, here we go. There's a lot of Episode 1 stuff in here. I was really surprised. Something's in here. It's a phone card. Give the gift everyone is talking about. GTI Telecom Collectibles phone cards. Phone cards. All right, so never been opened Naboo Starfighter. So I have another one right up here. You can see that. That's got Rick Oley in it. I put him in there. But this one has never been opened. So this one's in great shape. Thankfully, there's no batteries in it. So can't rot. A lot of Episode 1 toys. Like, a lot of us went hog wild on that very first Toys R Us and bought a lot of these things. I know I'm pretty sure I bought the Starfighter and probably... Oh, I bought every figure, the Starfighter, and I think Jabba the Hutt opening day. The day that you could actually buy the toys. So I bought all of those in one shot. I mean, I've been saving my money for like, you know, weeks to make sure that I could get everybody. And then, last thing in the box, and then we'll get to that little bag that I laughed about. This is... feels like it's in there. This is the re-release of the X-Wing from the Power of the Force. Basically, like I had said earlier, Hasbro / Kenner, they just kind of redid the molds. And, I mean, it gave fans a lot of what they wanted. Why make a new Millennium Falcon at the time? Like, you know, would people still want to buy Star Wars figures? Yep, it's in there. But it obviously came out, and it's obviously The stickers, I applied the stickers to it. So, you know, why make something new when you could just re-release the old packages, save some money, you don't have to do any designing, but give fans exactly what they want. So the thing that always bothered me was that they went and did this. Why didn't they just release the figures on the original packaging, what they call now the vintage collection, because they do that. They could have just started the figures over again. Instead, they did a whole design with Vader and this like lightsaber blast. Great, it was awesome, but we're at the point now where people only want the vintage collection figures. They want the points of articulation, and they want the cool packaging. So we've come all the way around, and it took almost 30 years to do it exactly the way fans wanted it. So it's just very frustrating. But I got this at Spencer's. That's a Spencer's tag, $39.99. It does make noise. Awesome. And it's a little bit smaller than the bigger one that we had seen earlier on these blogs. So there was a bag of loose figures in here. Ziploc bag. Very nice. Let's see who we got. So first up, right off the bat, and you can watch this cartoon series on Tubi. Just started watching it again. This is, let's see if he's got a tag on it. It doesn't say who made it, but it's from 1979. This is a Ming the Merciless action figure for the Flash Gordon cartoon series. It's an awesome series if you ever want to watch. I mean, it's incredible. Looks great. Stories are great. Realistic. Not too kiddie. But still fun for kids to watch. So this is, my brother had Flash Gordon. I had Ming the Merciless. Ming obviously survived. Flash has been lost for all time. I didn't have enough bad guys when I would do, when I played with my Star Wars figures. Ming the Merciless was Darth Vader's brother. I'll stick him right in there. This drawer's going to get full too. So inside this plastic bag, which is really gross, is actually it's a cape from one of the Apollo figures or Starbuck figures from Battlestar Galactica. So we have that. Here is the Imperious leader, sans his cloak. So he had like a purple, like shiny cloak that would be over here. But it's an awesome, crazy figure. I just wish I still had the cloak, but this is what was underneath. So more Battlestar Galactica here. More Ovians. I think they're Ovians. I think that's their name. I might be getting that wrong. So we have 2 more of these guys. So that makes 3 of the bug creatures. They must have been really cheap, because it's not like my parents would buy me the same figure like 5 or 6 times over. Here is Gaius Baltar, another great villain figure. There were I think there were more bad guys in this line than there were heroes. I think you got the dog, Adama, and then Starbuck or Apollo. They looked the same. I'm pretty sure it was Starbuck, but then there were tons of bad guys. Here's the dog. Here's not Boxy. Here's Daggett. His tail is broken, and they actually made a red one, so you could get a white one. I'm sorry, a beige one, and then you could get a white one. This is Emperor's Royal Guard cloak that came off. I don't know why that came off. Probably use that to stick over. Probably put that over this guy if I just re-sew it. I might just do that. I think the color's even right. Pretty damn close. Didn't have the arms though. And then, oh! So here is, I'm pretty sure this is Mego. Well, can't tell. 1979. Feels like Amigo. Could be Amigo. This is a Buck Rogers action figure. So, a little bit more, and this is one of the bad guys, a little bit more in line with G.I. Joe of what action figures would become. Surprisingly in decent shape. He is missing a thumb on his trigger hand. But the nice thing about this guy was he actually, the rubber band is very weak. He does have a gun in a holster right there, but you can't pull the gun out. So that's neat, but it's always there. So this is one of the, I think this is a Draconian Warrior. Very odd ball figure, but definitely very cool. So we'll go put him in the 1979 pile. So that's it. So what were the big surprises today? Well, the big surprises are that I have so many of these dioramas, or these little 3D display figures, some of which I'm going to have to open. Now, the Vader one, This one is awesome. I'm glad it's in great shape. I really like just the Emperor on the throne. It's just perfect. This 3-pack of pilots, that's going to be great, but clearly I'm going to have to open them. Very, very happy that I found these 3 guys, because I have the Sand Skiff upstairs. They just released it as a toy again. Absolutely love it. But it needs its pilots. And I was actually going to go out and buy these guys again. They've re-released the figures on cards, but I could use these and then keep those vintage figures. I just think those are cooler. Let's see. I'm looking for the one thing that really jumped out at me, and that is this. So, I think this is probably one of the most underrated releases by Hasbro ever. At a time when the figures were still being very straightforward, they were experimenting. I think the Tatooine showdown with Qui-Gon, Darth Maul, and Anakin Skywalker is amazing. I think it's a really cool set. I really like the way that figures are posed. We've got action in it. You could leave it in the box and forever and look at it, and it's just fantastic. So it comes with sand. It comes with a display like base that you can put them on. This is really cool. This was Hasbro taking it up a notch, and I really hope that this a release like this garnered more attention from websites of the day, and especially Toy Fair magazine. It's really, really cool, and I'm glad that I have it. Even though I'm not that big of a fan of Episode 1, it's still a great set to have. So, got Superman, Batman, brushes. Plus, we found one of the oddest releases. So, this is the contrast of what we had for Hasbro in the day. So, we had great 3-packs like this, and then oddball fish monsters that if you see him, he's in the movie, but Qui-Gon never got out. So it must have been taken from some sort of concept art just to give it scale. And they're like, yeah, let's make the big fish. Let's do that. So very odd, but obviously awesome for a collector to have. So a little bit longer today, but thank you for tuning in. This is our last show of the week. If you're watching this on YouTube, just jump on to the next one. I know I probably did another one on Monday, but I do like to take the weekend off. I've got other stuff I like to do, and it gives me a chance to rearrange and consolidate a lot of this, which is great because I'm really finding awesome things, like my lightsaber. So this was a great box of things, box items. Nothing was really, a couple of things were taken out, but to find so many Battlestar Galactica figures was great. Battlestar Galactica, a Buck Rogers figure, and a Flash Gordon. I mean, that's Star Wars and those things. That's my whole childhood right there. By the time I'm 4 or 5 years old, I'm a sci-fi junkie. I love that. So thank you for tuning in. Please check us out tomorrow on our website. We are going to do a retro toy commercial post. We've got 10 awesome toy commercials from a cartoon called The Inhumanoids. Very weird. We will get to an Inhumanoid on this show. He is somewhere in one of these boxes. He's like this big. It's a great, awesome toy. We'll really get into that, and I'll tell you some cool story about that one. And, that's it. So thank you for tuning in, and you have a good day, and please stay safe.